Get in, nerds. We are playing Victoria 3. We are preparing for a new aggression in China. Not quite yet, but we're getting there. I just want to make sure that my subjects are chill and it doesn't become a problem. Because with Ashanti, it could be a problem. I can't do all that much about that, but, if they decide to fight me, then that is what it is. The Red Scare. Members of the Democratic Alliance have been vigorously warning voters against the FTSF's electoral campaign. First, they'll take your boss's house and you'll thank them for it. You'll receive them as the promised savior and kneel before them. Then they'll take your neighbor's house and you'll try to convince them. You'll say, but he's a good man, I know him. But it won't matter in the slightest. Then they'll take your car and you'll think to yourself, it's fine, I don't need a car anyways. And can you guess what'll happen next? You know what'll happen next. So, coming back to our election here. Okay, so this is the FTSF, the trade unions. Now, we want to keep them weaker in this run because we want to be up the industrialists, the Democratic Alliance. So, our options are these leftists are traitors to the nation, minus 30% momentum. The rhetoric here is needlessly alarmist, momentum to the FTSF. The rhetoric here is needlessly alarmist, minus 20% momentum. Government interest group approval, minus 2. Or communist literature should be banned. Trade unions unhappy, minus 50% momentum. And this is available to us because we got censorship. I'm gonna do the second one. I'm gonna do the third one. I'm gonna reduce their momentum maximally. So that means that puts the Democratic Alliance at a very healthy lead. Now, if I can throw them a little bit more momentum, I'll be in a really, really good stead to get the government locked down in favor of the Democratic Alliance. And that is my goal. Electricity shortages are not too bad. Army of Central Africa has an organization shortage due to having too many special units. Well, we can solve that problem, can't we? Alright, what do we want to have here? Let's throw in a few more mech infantry units. Another 15. Scrap out the siege artillery, and then for heavy tanks, we'll do 5, 10, 15, 20. And for light tanks, we'll do 10. That'll be fine. I should do that for the rest of my African armies as well. But first, speaking on speech. Today's speech from Alphonse Normand focuses on the right of assembly and the efforts of the Republican Party to secure it. The crowd has flocked from all corners to hear it. No true discussion may be had while the law binds us to silence. How is it that we may call ourselves great and enlightened while we still fear reprisal from the law itself? And for what? Our very words? Great, enlightened. A falsehood, I say. A lie, a travesty, a shameful display. Alphonse Normand has a point. Extra momentum to the Republican Party. Fetch the paper and ink. There's a law to draft. 10% momentum to the Republican Party. Extra radical movement pop attraction. Or those who wish to speak should know how and when first. Reduce momentum for the Republican Party. 5% of intelligentsia pops become more radical. So, the Republican Party is not projected to get a lot of votes, but they are a natural ally of the Democratic Alliance, and a great way to pull progressives away from the STSF. So, I'm going to say he's got a point. So that puts them up at 25%. I didn't dilute the Democratic Alliance that much. All of our parties are right around 0, so again, if we can get our Democratic Alliance votes up, that'll be just fine. Now, Army of North Africa, yes, still has siege artillery and lancers, so that's not ideal. Let's throw a few more mech infantry in here. Oh boy, another event. Huzzah! Practicing positivists. That's right, we got the positive stage, and I forgot to read that one. The philosophy of positivism has been spread beyond the positivist church, with many engineers, academics, and officers adopting its scientific principles in order to fulfill their reformist ambitions. Natural law was one of the first things to go under this new judge. One gavel stroke and thus ended any claims to the naturalness of any man seeking recompense for damaged goods. If there was no explicit command from governments to do so, it was no law to be followed. Merely guidelines to be interpreted until commands are set forth. A great benefit to the reformist cause. Influence of the positivists will progress by 10. Positivist characters will be more likely to appear in the Kingdom of France for the next 10 years. Or, there are surely more reasonable forums for politics. Positive influence will retreat by 10. Positivist characters will be slightly more likely to appear. I'm going to do the first one. We're going up the positivists. I thought we'd had this one already, but since it seems like maybe we haven't, let's read it. Followers of the social theory of positivism have been organizing for political reform in the Kingdom of France. The positivists desire to focus on the future of the Kingdom of France and for the nation to develop and industrialize under the governance of technical experts. Effects at the conclusion of this journal entry will depend on the degree of influence that the positivists secure. Positivism is the philosophical theory that all things may be derived by logic and reason from the senses. The positivist movement advocates for reforms based on scientific principles, to advance beyond the theorized theological and metaphysical stages of human development, and establish a society based on full knowledge of the natural world. Will complete if the progress bar is reached 100%. If completed, the effects will be enhanced by the current influence of the positivist. Triggers the event the positive epoch. If time runs out, triggers the event a peculiar cult. The effects of the event will be reduced by the current influence of the positivists. So, I'm going to sponsor positivist philosophy. My two options are... Sorry. I'm running out ahead of myself here. My two options are sponsor positivist philosophy. The influence of the positivists will progress by 10. 2% of lower stardom pops in the Kingdom of France become more radical. The positive stage decisions will become available again in 1 year. Or suppress positivist organizations. Instead of radicalizing lower stardom pops, it radicalizes middle stardom pops. And instead of increasing the influence of the positivist, it decreases it. And then the positive stage decisions will become available again in 1 year. So I'm going to hit the sponsor positivist philosophy button. Okay, no, they both have independent cooldowns. So that's fine. Now, I was doing stuff with my armies in Africa. I'm going to close out my previous production methods of these armies. We're going to throw in some more mech infantry. I'm going to bring them up to 50. Yep, that's 50. And then let's do 30 levels of heavy tanks. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Oh boy, it's a fun one today. And then 10 levels of light tanks, 5. And we'll round out numbers from here. There's that. I need one more. Gorsh. That's alright, we'll just mess up the number in Tunisia. That's fine. Fez needs more infrastructure. So let's add in a railway. 2 railways, actually. Almost finished incorporating there. Army of West Africa. We will do the same. We need 1 more level of mech infantry. Close out all of our lancers and our siege artillery, and then we'll do the same thing. 30 and 10. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. And then 10. And we have some more events. Bourgeois fears. To avert the fears of the upper class with regards to a potential FTSF government, Alberic Canon has carried out a series of meetings with wealthy influencers, stretching the importance of reforms still adhering to French values. It is simply the case that if there are no reforms to French society, there will be a social revolution. I do not embrace this. In fact, I hate it like sin, but this is reality. You must see this as clearly as I do. And so the question comes to this. How do we avert this? Reform against revolution, extra momentum to the FTSF? Or try as they might, they will always be Reds. 2% of trade unionist pops become more radical. Reduce momentum to the FTSF. I'm going to do the second one. Shabamzo. A clause is coming to town. Advance event. The industrialists and the Catholic Church are jockeying for minor but favoring concessions regarding women's suffrage. Supporters of Charlotte de Bail are calling for a resolution without concessions. He's the industrialist guy. A pair of bickering children, the bane of swift and firm decision-making since time immemorial. Regardless of age or pretense of education, the beats rhyme every time. Two groups want something and will make it someone else's problem until they get it. The problem then is which baby to hand the bottle to. Let them bicker. Stronger industrialists, extra success chance. Throw a bone if it will silence them. 50% chance of either group becoming happier. The industrialists or the Catholic Church, and 5% enactment success chance regardless. I'm going to go with the first one, let them bicker. This is just going to make the industrialists stronger, and that's good. That's good with what I'm doing. Oh, right. I'm doing army reform. So I did West Africa, I did North Africa, I did Central Africa. I haven't done East Africa yet. The Army of East Africa needs more infantry as a whole. And then, yeah, we'll do 30... Oop, not conscripts. Professionals. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. And then some light tanks as well. And then we'll close out our siege artillery and our lancers. Alright, that's an army reform. And then once the election is over and that's done, maybe I'll go after China. We'll see how the government looks. We'll see how the government looks. Food security issue. Which state? Eastern New Guinea. What can I do about that? Ah, it's a market access problem. Oh, we'll build a railway pretty darn quick. In fact, oh, we can't build a railway pretty darn quick because we don't have the ability to... Oh my gosh, I got combustion pump engine. That's very funny. Okay, hold on. This will stop tour. Bartolomé Bouzik intends to travel across the Niger Delta by train to campaign for the FTSF. All I intend to do is present myself to the people. I'm just a simple man trying to get our party's message out by the best means available. Campaigning by rail is a smart move. Extra momentum, stressed railway network, reduced railway throughput. Or sure would be a shame if the train kept suffering delays. Significantly reduced momentum, significantly lower railway throughput. I'm going to do the second one. And that's going to take us into our election. And we'll see the results coming up shortly. Alright, here we go. Beautiful. Democratic Alliance holds 46%, Republican Party 27%, FTSF 14%, Resistance Party 12%. So, let's form a government. Armed Forces, you're out. Intelligentsia, you're in. This is going to make women in the workforce, I think, even easier. So, this is going to significantly change the way things work in France, but it will be a good time. Barracks are getting built. No problems there. The Devil's Railroad event, once again, I'm going to say full steam ahead, same as I always do. And then, I'm going to update my mining production. Before I do that, I'm going to check out my oil situation. Goods, market price. Where is oil? Oil is moderately expensive, and I am importing a significant amount. So before I do this... Wow, a lot of my motor industries are not running super good. Oh, those are in other countries. Alright, I'm not worried. I do have the ability to mass produce cars. Let's do... The automotive industry seems to be less profitable than ever. Shame. But it will be better in the long term to keep using the modern methods. Compression ignition tractors, let's go. That is better, even if they're pretending it's not. Now, we do have new mining production methods, but let's look at oil first. Where can we build up oil supplies? We've pretty much built out all of the oil capacity in Africa. Ooh, Libyan desert's got a lot of oil capacity. Western New Guinea will build that up. Ooh, a lot available in Persia. This will be good for Persia. I don't foresee any consequences to this. Ooh, quite a bit available in Mexico. Oh, but that's a foreign market. Persia is in our power block. Darfur is in our power block as well. All right. So that's a series of oil rigs. It's a series of rigs. Let's go ahead and so we're building up Khorasan. Fars, and just double check and make sure. Yeah, I'm actually going to need even more railways here. Khorasan, not so many. And Hormuz, we're building 18, so we'll need a couple. Alright, that should be fine. That should suffice. And then, what else do I need to prepare? Are the army things are done. Oh my goodness. Japan, what is going on with you? Proletarian revolt under Emperor Iwao Nabeshima. Well, I mean, we can't allow the House of Yamato to fall. I mean, that just seems sensible. Calling our supporters their ally. Yes, obviously. And all of our subjects side with them as well. So, I don't think this is going to involve a gigantic commitment of force. I'm just going to mobilize the 3rd Expeditionary Force to support them. And we'll do the same with the Army of East Africa, just to make sure we've got sufficient strength. And this should be fine. And we'll put off our aggression in China, which I don't think is going to cause a problem nearly at all. Conquer state in Bengal, that's fine. Law progressive drafting, wonderful. And what else? Shortage of airplanes, we've got. Let's get some more of our automotive industry producing airplanes. Let's grab the ones in Picardy and have them build airplanes. That's produced the sufficiency of airplanes. Excellent. Should I maybe mobilize one more African army? I think maybe yes. We'll grab the army of Central Africa to assist with this situation. The Prussian flu spreads. The deadly Prussian flu has appeared in Rhénanie du Nord. The pandemic is quickly becoming a global crisis. It was truly like unto a rush of wounded from the field of battle, and the house was filled to capacity almost at once. Within a few days, it was necessary to open a ward in the college gymnasium, which was equipped with beds from our students' dormitory. When will this plague end? Prussian flu appears in Rhénanie du Nord, increasing mortality for the next 6 months. The state may get hit by further waves of the pandemic. The Prussian flu appears in Rhénanie, increasing mortality for the next 6 months. The state may get hit by further waves. Adds flu pandemic to the Journal Kingdom of France. The pandemic response journal decision is active, which can mitigate the effects of the spread. When will the plague end? So, flu pandemic. A deadly flu pandemic is ravaging the globe. The government's response to this plague will determine the fate of thousands, perhaps millions of lives. If completed, they lose their flu pandemic. Will complete if all French states do not have a flu pandemic. We do now have flu pandemic options in our decisions, so let's decide about that. The government must determine its response to the flu pandemic that threatens to engulf the nation. Stricter measures will surely have a cost, but will save lives. Slicing off people's legs won't help. By authority and direction of the State Board of Health, there will be no classes in the university beginning at noon today. Students are forbidden to leave the town. To do so would help spread the infection. Impose a strict lockdown and close non-essential businesses. Flu mortality is greatly reduced for successive waves, minus 50% throughput in both states. Mandate health measures such as distancing and protective masks. Minus 25% throughput. States are less likely to experience successive waves. Or we can't risk harming the economy. States will always experience successive waves of the flu, up to 4. Flu mortality may be very high. Impose a strict lockdown. Alright, so our forces are on their way to Africa. We're building up our oil supply. So let's get our mines running using the oil method. We'll start with gold. Put that on diesel pump. We'll do iron next. And then with these two... Oh, actually, coal is going to be the biggest investment. And then, we'll do all of them right now. So, what does that do to oil prices? Oil prices have skyrocketed, but also, we are producing a ton more oil. Victoria 3 is really chugging along, so, you know, that's as it stands. Our forces are almost at the front line in Japan. There we go. Now they're getting there. So this should not be too much of a war. 1.4 billion in GDP, though. Hopefully tanking the price of iron and all these other things will help out make our economy stronger. Because we have absolutely tanked the price of sulfur, lead, and coal. What if we become... There's the war kicking off. What if I become a lead exporter? Where's lead? Is lead actually expensive? Am I big wrong? I'm big wrong. Lead is very expensive. Oh my goodness. How can I produce more lead? No, I've actually got a lot of lead capacity in Lorraine. So let's build that up. A little bit in Algiers as well. Lorraine will need some additional railways, probably. Yeah, at least one. We'll go with two. The Prussian flu spreads. The deadly flu has appeared in Rhone. The pandemic is quickly becoming a global crisis. It was truly like unto the rush to the wounded from the field of battle, and the house was filled to capacity almost at once. Within a few days, it was necessary to open a ward in the college gymnasium, which was... We just read this event. When will the plague end? So Rhone gets locked down as well. Wait a minute. It's not spreading through Rhénanie du Nord. Where's it? Rhone is here. It's coming from Piedmont, apparently. Or maybe from Switzerland. A novel solution. In Charlotte de Baille's body of published works is a popular new book with a vision of what women's suffrage might look like. Lawyers affiliated with the industrialists say the contents are legally sound. Most of the time, fiction is merely that. Something to pass the time. Sometimes a true vision of possibility creeps through. Once in a blue moon, well-written fiction can change how people think. Every so often from there, however, it might be mistaken for divination. Canvass the public about this light reading. Charlotte de Baille becomes more popular. Industrialists become stronger and happier. Kingdom of France gets extra enactment chance. Procure a copy with our compliments. Costs a barrel of money, more enactment chance. Or fiction should remain entertainment. Extra authority for 5 years. 5% enactment chance. This used to provide extra authority forever. We'll just canvass the public. I don't really need the authority at this stage of the game. My cash flow is doing fine. Don't pay attention to this red number here. It's made up. It's fake news. Oh my gosh, the enemy's got a fleet. That's funny. I didn't realize. Alright, so our armies are fighting exile from Hawaii. We'll send a smaller... We've had a split in fronts. So we'll send a smaller army to handle the Sakhalin front. While we focus on Japan. The Prussian flu spreads to Savoy. When will this play again? This is the same flavor text as before. We're doing a big lockdown. This is a bad time to fight a war, but, you know, we're gonna do it. Yeah, look at this. Oh my goodness. Excellent. We do have a humanitarian heading up our intelligentsia. I could do multiculturalism and finish out the Algerian departments that way. That would be interesting. I would be delighted by that. That would also help out my takeover of China. It would reduce my authority, but that wouldn't really matter, in my humble opinion. It would make some of my reactionaries very angry, though. Yeah, my French supremacist movement would be absolutely furious. I don't currently have a reactionary movement, but I do have a fascist movement. So it would make them very unhappy, but it would also be nice. Ooh, law progressed to voting. Wonderful. Civil war in the Ottoman Empire, a proletarian revolt. Interesting. I'm not going to get involved in that, but it's the sort of thing I could get involved in. If I were of a mind. Beautiful. Alright. Cash flow is looking good. Time to do some aggression in China. So if I do a conquer state over here, Great Britain will step in if I do that. What if I target somewhere else? Ah, perfect. If I start in the north, then Great Britain will not step in because they don't have an interest declared. Beautiful. Excellent. All right, let's conquer some more states. The only people who can interfere are Russia and Japan, and I don't think either of them is gonna. So, where do we want to get? I want to get Zhejiang. Since my primary cause is not to go north towards Beijing. I could do Henan. I could just do kind of a ring around where I'm currently holding. That would be nice. Yeah, let's do Henan. No, that's Hunan. Where's Henan? Here we are. Then we're going to do Southern Anhui and Zhejiang. And do I want to add any of these to primary? It'll be 2.4 infamy when I do. I'm thinking I might do all of them. Because again, I don't want them to surrender. Oh, but I want Fujian so bad. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to throw in one more Conquer War goal for Fujian. And then we'll just grab Henan, Southern Anhui. Ooh, I got a little more. And I don't need to put these other ones into primary, though. Well, no, I think I do, actually. So we're going to do that. And we got a bunch of armies in Japan. Which we will mobilize into the conflict. I'm also going to send my other expeditionary forces. I'm not going to raise my conscripts because I don't think that that's going to be needed. And once these units are in the water, they'll be able to get where they need to get to. Temples of Humanity. The Positivist Church of the Kingdom of France has petitioned to be allowed to construct an additional church in Aquitaine. The proposed Temple of Humanity will serve as an important node of positivist activities. There's already a temple in Paris, now they want another in Bordeaux. Surely there will be an inquisition upon us for all this. I wouldn't worry, they sound like Catholics anyway. If there's an inquisition at all, they'll just take the priests and baptize them. Maybe that'd be a real reason to attend Mass on Sunday. You don't attend Mass on Sunday? What does your mother think? There's no harm in it. Extra education access qualifications and radicals from political movements, and increases the influence of the positivists, or they will not spread disorder in Aquitaine, angry armed forces, reduce the influence of the positivists. I'm going to say there's no harm in it. This will advance the positivist situation. All right, so obviously China has refused the demands. We're going to put the rest of our armies onto the front. Mexico sides with the Ottoman Empire. Good for you, Mexico. You get him. Oh, Great Britain is having a war with Warsangali. They're taking the advantage. Oh no, it's a Warsangali internal situation. They're taking advantage of the fact that I'm occupied over here. Let's send our fleets. Would it have been wise to not conquer so much? Perhaps. Am I still conquering? Also, yes. The investment pool is very full, so I'm hoping that once I finish all of these lead mines and oil rigs, we'll be good to go. Prussian flu spreads to Provence. Oh man, this is Garbo. I'm getting really pandemic bad. Sucks. Where do I have food insecurity? Eastern New Guinea again. Do I just... Why are the rice farms manually downsizing? How do I make you profitable? Oh, they don't have frickin' infrastructure access. Well, this sucks. Railways are running as fast as they can. Actually, here's what I'm gonna do. Oh, I can't automatically downsize them. Well, that is what it is. Fringe group violence. Violence by a small group within the suffragist movement is threatening to turn the general population against it. Violence and mayhem is their trade, and if we let them keep playing it, it's going to do more harm to the cause than good. We cannot stand idly by and let this happen. Nothing to be done, reduce enacting success chance, or we need to shut this down, reduced authority. Nothing to be done. We're at 70% and we're close with no setbacks. I'm not worried. Alright. With that having been said, it is the middle of 1921, and that is all the time we've got for this episode. My nerds, I have had fun. I hope you all have had fun, and I will see you on the other side.